Hello, everyone, and welcome to the healing subscription for today. So, today is one of those special days. We have 5 Mondays in the month. So, this one is free for all. So, whether you are tier 1, 2, or 3, or not a subscriber at all, you get access to this healing subscription for today. And happy Halloween. I don't really celebrate that. I don't know why I said that, but I guess it is that time. So today I am marrying a few technologies together for our session. As always, I don't know what we're doing the day before. So it's I wake up in the morning and I go, okay, what am I focusing on for today's session? And today what's coming up is a life path balance so life path is from life alignment. I'm using my Bar cards, my Wands of Horus cards. So that's my technology. I am bringing in these beautiful cards, expanding consciousness cards. That's designed by a friend of mine. We'll talk about these a little bit later. And at the end, I'm bringing in the soul plane cards. So there's quite a bit going in here. So I think let's get going with what we need to do. I've done all the dowsing work already, and so everything is ready and prepared. I've got the chart ready, I've got pendulums out, I've got all the work. So I'm going to do the recorded aspect, and then I will do some more healing work after the video is done. So I'm just going to take you through all the stuff that we are focusing on today. And so let's start by getting our work going. So for today's session, we are using this light code. So I want you to just spend a moment to tune in and allow your eyes to fall on this light code wherever it wants to be, or perhaps just trace with your eyes the patterns and use this opportunity to center and to focus your intention on what it is that you want to receive today. What healing do you want to receive? What would you like to let go of? Are there any blockages that you want to release? Any healing that you want to bring in? This could be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual healing. Whatever it is that you want to bring in for today's session. Just a little bit of background on this particular light code. This came through as a code for inspiration. So we are hoping through the session today that you will gain inspiration either through the session or in the days following this session. So whatever it is that your focus or intention is, that inspiration is also part of this. So if you need more time to tune in and connect, you may pause the video at any time. Okay, so here is our map for today. Now I have a cleaned up version here on screen. I will post photos as well on the Patreon page. So I have all handwritten notes and the cards and everything is on the chart, but I thought just to make it easier to explain things on the screen, I have made a neatened up, tidied version so that we can follow along as we do the work and as I reveal the information. So with a life path, we have this blank map and we've got this path that we follow through the work. So this is sort of the journey that we follow. And so each of these areas form a vortex point within the major vortex. And so we're working with a vortex type energy. And so as the Wands of Horus cards are placed, as the information is placed, that information is pulled into a vortex and it's being mulled around as we do the energy work as well. So we're hoping to spin all of the stuff out that we are wanting to focus on. And so our light code is in the center, which means your intentions, your focus for today's session is sitting in the center of this vortex. And now we are going to look at what is everything that we need to focus on. So in relation to your issue or your goal or what it is that you want to release or receive, and you can do multiples of these, we're going to see what comes up. Now, please bear in mind, this is a group healing, and so some of the emotions or ideas may not make 100% sense to you. If an emotion or a thought or a feeling or an affirmation or something comes up that you don't connect with, imagine that you do connect with it. So when we go into the imagination, we go into the subconscious. Perhaps take yourself to a time when it was relevant, or see what comes up in your mind's eye. No matter how weird or connected it feels, we take all of the information that comes in and we're going to use that. Okay, so even if something doesn't make sense, pretend or imagine that it does. And the important thing there is, how does that make you feel? We want to get into the feeling. We always say the deeper you feel, the deeper you heal. So very important to get into the feeling, even if you feel you don't 100% connect with that. Now, I have 28 Wands of Horus cards. So I dowse through to see which card goes where, and then they are placed in their locations. So, but I don't check or analyze what card goes where until now. So I'm sitting down with you and we're going to analyze this together. The same with the information. I don't check or analyze the information as I'm bringing it through. I have a big fat folder full of information, and I dowse through using the pendulum to check what information goes where. And again, I don't analyze or think about where these things go or how it weaves into our story. And I always say you can't make this stuff up, because when we start putting it together, it's like, how does this even fit together? It just fits together naturally. So it sometimes feels like it's been planned out in a specific way. I can guarantee you it was not. And having said that, I can't even remember what's coming up. So we're going to discover this together. Okay, so I think let's dive in. Okay, I'm going to start with the information first, and then we'll add the layers to that. And that's the way that I brought the information through, with the information first. So from our central point, where our focus is, we're going to move up to this point, and this would be our first focus. So let's zoom in there. And our focus here, or the aspect that we're working with, is repair, and it's in relation to inhibition. Okay, now I have no idea if this means anything to you. Perhaps there is some repairing to do, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and maybe it's being inhibited. So it's not coming to fruition, or it's not getting there. What we want to manifest in relation to this aspect, so what we want to heal, is to manifest. So clearly, what inhibition means, it's not happening. We want to get to a point where we can manifest this. The sabotage or the block that you have is, I'd rather keep things to myself. And so here, perhaps we need to open up, perhaps we need to speak to others, perhaps we need to allow others in, and we have not been doing that. The fear, which is getting us to the block, is the fear of not being loved. So perhaps if you open up to whoever you are opening up to, you fear that they may not love you. And our affirmation that we're going to use to heal all of this is, I believe in myself. Now, while you're working with the affirmation of I believe in myself, you can do the handholds. Place one hand on the sacral, one hand on the solar plexus, and say, I believe in myself, I believe in myself, I believe in myself. And then you can go to the solar plexus and the heart. I believe in myself, I believe in myself, I believe in myself. Okay, so for now, I'm just looking at the gathering of information. I'm not doing any healing work yet. I'm just taking us through the process. And I'm going to be doing this healing work after the recording. So on your side, what you can do is you can take this information, allow yourself to sit with repair and inhibition. What does manifest mean for you? Work with that block. I'd rather keep things to myself. Is that a reality for you? Do you keep things to yourself? How can you change that for yourself? Do you have this fear? How can you change that for yourself? So what we're doing is we're putting the spotlight on this, and then that affirmation is something that you want to use continuously, maybe through the day or maybe through the week. Okay, so we're going to move on to the second aspect, which is sitting over here. So our next aspect is unresponsive, and it's in relation to worry. So when we worry, it makes us passive in a way. We can't act. And when we can't act, we go into freeze mode. So worry is something that holds us back. So the emotion of unresponsive or the feeling of unresponsive, worry is what's bringing that about. What we want to manifest is persistence, which is actually getting out of the unresponsiveness, and we want to push through so that we can navigate where we're wanting to get to. Like I said, you can't make this stuff up. Like, it really looks like it's been planned, and I can promise you it's not been planned. Our block here is I am a procrastinator. So the worrying that's making you unresponsive is helping you to procrastinate, and then you are not stepping into your persistence. Our fear here is the fear of not assuming responsibility for your own thoughts. So now we're blaming the worry on some external force or some external thing. And so it's about getting back to ourselves and go, okay, you know what? The worries that I have, these are mine. Where do they come from? Let me take responsibility for them and let me work with them. Our affirmation that we're working with for this particular aspect is I rejoice in all that I am. I rejoice in all that I am. And you can hold the sacral and the solar plexus while you work with that. I rejoice in all that I am. I rejoice in all that I am. I rejoice in all that I am. Okay, and these affirmations you can repeat as many times as you need. Okay, so from here we go on to our next aspect, which will be sitting over here. Okay, so our next aspect is elated, and it's in relation to control. This is a little bit of a weird one, because how does control make you feel elated? Anyway, so we want to do a manifestation. The manifestation we want in relation to this, or the fix, is healing. We want to heal this aspect where there's elation around control. Sometimes control is good, sometimes control is needed. But do we give away too much of our control? And where do we do that? Our block is life is not going the way I want. Well, surprise there. If you're going to be elated in being controlled, then life is not going to go your way. If someone else is going to do the controlling, then it's going to obviously not go your way. And you can't make this stuff up. Fear of being out of control. So the fear of being out of control leads us to being in a space where we are being controlled. That's like a little bit of a, can you see the block over there? This is something that I think we all have to, on some degree. We push the stuff over onto someone else and go, okay, someone else will handle it. Someone else will handle it, instead of stepping up and saying, I will handle this. And then our affirmation is, I am able to help myself. I'm able to help myself. We're holding on to the sacral and the heart when we work with this. I am able to help myself. I am able to help myself. I'm able to help myself. This one is big. This is massive. There's so much control around us. There's so much things happening. And how much of that are we happy to give away? And how can we heal this? So this is going to be a big one over here, I think. Move over to the next point over here. And here our aspect is self-centered, and it's in relation to conviction. Self-centered in relation to conviction. So when you have your convictions about something, does it come across like you're self-centered, or maybe that you are decisive or discerning? Sometimes there can be a little bit of a flip where people perceive it in a different way. Or perhaps you feel that when you come to a space of conviction, that you are self-centered, and we've got this feeling around self-centeredness, that self-centeredness is bad. I don't believe that self-centeredness is necessarily bad, because for me, self-centered means you are centered within yourself. You know what's good for you, you know what's not good for you, you know what's right for you, you know what's not right for you. You've got your convictions, you can put it out there, you can say, this is me and this is my boundaries. So self-centered in relation to conviction, what does this mean for you? What we want to manifest or bring in is maturity. So we want to get to a place where perhaps we are okay with being centered within ourselves, with having our convictions to be who we are. Our block, or what's holding us back, is I'll do it tomorrow. Doesn't that sound familiar? It sounds like the procrastinator coming up again. So putting off what you can do right now. Our fear is the fear of separation. So What if I step into my convictions? What if I do things now? How will that separate me from the people around me or the things around me? How would that work for me? Affirmation, and we can hold sacral and solar plexus again. Sacral solar plexus keeps coming up in today's session. Our affirmation here is, I am learning to discern what is for my highest good and greatest joy. I am learning to discern what is for my highest good and greatest joy. I am learning to discern what is for my highest good and greatest joy. Okay. Then that leads us through to our next aspect, aspect number 5. And here we have rush, and it's in relation to who you want to be. Rush in relation to who you want to be. So this could go either that you are rushing in a direction of where you see yourself going or where you want to be. Or maybe there is a rush to who you want to be. If that makes it like the rush, like the feeling of being on a roller coaster and getting all excited, and there's this rush of energy. Could be that, or you're rushing. And I think I see this a lot when it comes to spiritual journeys, where people start out on their spiritual journey and they immediately want to be where the gurus and the teachers and the other adepts are, and they go like, I want to be there, and they're rushing towards that, but they forget that like metaphysics and energy work is so much greater than just what we can see in physicality. So we can't rush these things. And besides, it's not a destination, it's a journey. So if you are forgetting the journey and you're just trying to get to the destination, you're missing out on a lot. What do we want to manifest? Sweetness. Manifest the sweetness of enjoying the journey, not rushing, enjoying getting to who you want to be, right? You're not there right now, but you're on your way towards that. Yeah, work with that. Our blocks, I don't have faith in my abilities. So that could be perhaps the imposter syndrome, or it could just be looking at other people, looking outside of yourself and going, well, they can do it, why can't I do it? They can do it, why can't I do it? Instead of realizing we each have our own journey, we each have our own pace, we each have our own direction to go, and to have your faith in that. The fear is, and this is a weird one, I'm not sure how this one fits in, fear of not assuming responsibility for your own finances. How does that fit in with your rush and your sweetness? I mean, if you've got your finances sorted out, there can be more sweetness in your life. You can have the balance of wanting to come and go as you please. So I don't know if this makes sense to you. Perhaps you need to dig a little bit. Perhaps it's like right in your face. Just see what it means to you and also how it feels. Very important with all of these aspects. How does it feel? Our affirmation is, I awaken new life within me. And we're working with the heart and the third eye. I awaken new life within me. I awaken new life within me. And I awaken new life within me. This is our last aspect to work with. So aspects 6, 7, and 8 are not anything that we're working with in today's session. So it is only those ones. So let me just zoom in so that we've got that nice and centered. Okay, so that's all of our aspects that we're working with. Let's look at the Wands of Horus cards that came in. So the first card that came in is the Earth card. And the Earth card, usually for me, when it comes up somewhere in a balance or in a balance, it for me means that this is a priority point. This is the point that we want to work on. And the Earth card happens to be in the center. So it becomes our priority point, but it also becomes our grounding point. It helps us to anchor in our intention and our focus and to really pull it in and say, boom, here it is, and this is what I want to work on, and let's anchor it in at the same time. So I think it's actually a really great, awesome card to have in the center. Just a little bit of background. I'll give you the background in a moment. I think I have given it before. Okay, then in aspect 1, we've got Sahu, and Sahu is the judge. So this is you doing your internal judging, how you're holding that space, how you balancing between all of that. What we have here is repair and inhibition. We want to manifest. So fear of being loved, How do you judge yourself around all of that? So we are clearing the judgment that's sitting in this position. In position 2, we've got the water card. So the water card is about getting things to flow, getting things to move, and clearing and cleansing. And what we have here is we've got persistence and the procrastinator. I probably can't make this stuff up. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, the flow, water is wanting to bring that flow into this position, wanting to clear that, wants to get us to take responsibility for our thoughts. And it's a very clearing, cleansing energy that we have here. This is our elated and control the healing. This is the one I said is going to be a little bit of like a strong one. And when we got the Baka cards, we got the heart card. This is like really the heart of the matter. And we've got a heart point to focus on. Really, you can't make this up. I'm surprised with today's session myself. So yes, so the heart card is really about getting into the center of the thing. So when we've got the heart and the earth, that really pulls me into priority, and this is our focus. So I think that this aspect 3 is a very potent one, and we may need to sit with this one for a little bit longer and just working clear on that. Then we've got our self-centered and conviction, maturity, and I'll do it tomorrow. We've got the fire card there. The fire card is really putting that fire under your bottom and saying, well, let's get things done. Not tomorrow, today. Let's burn things away that no longer serves. Let's burn away what is not helping us. That fear of separation. Let's burn that away. Let's clear that. In the 5th aspect, this is where we're rushing to be who we want to be. I'm having a giggle because I know it's cards coming up. And taking responsibility for finances, we've got the divine child. So the divine child is the one that's looking at the parents, the divine father and mother, and wanting to, or is aspiring to get there and is moving towards that. And perhaps there's a bit of a rush happening over here. So divine child coming up. I then check to see whether we need cards for the other locations, because ultimately this is one big vortex containing smaller vortices within. And so sometimes I like to fill in all of the positions to really complete the vortex. Sometimes we don't need cards there, but in today's session we needed some cards. So in our next position, we've got the synchronicity card. And so it's a reminder that everything happens as it should, when it should, in the right place and at the right time. Our next position is the shadow. And the shadow is, as the name suggests, the shadow side, but it is about integrating the shadow, integrating our negative aspects. So all of the negative things that came up here, all of the blocks, all of the fears, each of those archetypes hold something positive for us that we can learn from and grow from. And this shadow card is inviting us to connect with the dark side, or but connect with your shadow side and integrate the gifts that those shadow aspects bring. If you haven't read the book yet, The Dark Side of Light Chasers, The Dark Side of Light Chasers by Debbie Ford, highly recommend it. It's all about shadow work and integrating the shadow, the dark side of light chasers. I'll put it in the description as well. And our last card that we have is Shin, which is eternity. And Shin is also about protection. So it's a reminder that this journey that we're going through, this work that we're going through here in today's session, you are protected through this. But eternity also means this is internal work. It goes on for infinity. It's gone on before. It's going to go on forever. It may not happen in this same realm, but our soul and our information and our spirit continues, and we're going to keep growing and expanding through everything that we are working with. I then check to see whether like any cards are needed, and that's where the okay, wait, bar card cards. Let me quickly just explain with these cards. They are based on magnetic qualities, so each card's got a magnet in, and each card's got a little mini, like an orgonite chip within it. Actually, it's got multiple chips, and it's different combinations of gold, silver, and copper. And so the different combinations will give you a different frequency within the card. and then they energize within a 0-point machine to be tachyonized as well. So we've got tachyon, magnet, orgonite, and then the sacred geometry and the information in the Egyptian hieroglyphs that I use. And there's all kinds of encoding happening in here, so that each card becomes a little frequency generator that generates a different pattern and frequency. So by placing them in a circle like this into a little vortex point, each of them's got their own vortex. So these vortices are starting to work with each other. So just the cards lying on the table as I've got them next to me, they're already doing something, but at the moment they're in idle. I'm going to start working with them in a moment to really build the energy up and to get that going. Okay, so then I moved on to our expanding consciousness cards, and there's only 2 cards that came up, and one was in position 1 and the other one was in the final position. So the first card that came up is intent, and intent is about you setting your intention. Again, you actually can't make this stuff up, but there's 66 cards, and I randomly picked a card, and this was the card that came up. So it's about you getting your intention clear. So if you feel that after all of this, you need a clearer intention, pause and actually really get your focus going, focus on that light code again, and get your intention going. So this is about getting your intent. And then when you've got your intention going, then we can magnetize what it is that we need. The world is really our oyster. So yeah, we're working with that one. And our final card that came up here is the beauty of emptiness. And this is about releasing and letting go. So over here, we set our intent and we really focusing on this is what I want to bring in, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual healing. And then we say, I let it go. So if it is meant to be, it will be. Or you could look at it as a perspective of if it is in my highest good, then it will come. If it's not, it will not. So really, it's about setting your intention, getting your focus going. Then we're doing this work, going through this vortex, and then we let it go and forget about it. You can't ask for a better connection or a card over here. Okay, then I did one final check, and that was with the soul plan card. So I wanted to see with today's work, what is our opportunity for growth? What is the solution? So what can you do for your homework, or how can you extend or expand on the work for maybe the next week or month, or however you're going to be working with this? And what is the result of doing this homework? And we've got 3 cards that came up. So we've got the opportunity, solution, and the result. So the opportunity is card 19, and I'll go through this in a moment. Our solution, this is going to be our homework, is card 11. And then the result or the success that we're going to have if we do this homework is 12. Now, all 3 of these cards have a little bit of an overlap. All 3 of them are about expansion of energy, about expansion of self, about, just expanding. So wherever you are right now in your life, whatever you're struggling with, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, this is giving you an opportunity for growth. It's giving you an opportunity to expand. And our first opportunity here is this expansion. The solution is actually working with expansion, and then the result is expansion. You can't make it up. Okay, so anyway, so our opportunity here is to bring our spiritual energies into physical structures. So it could be about bringing your spiritual practice into physical activity, like doing a spiritual practice for yourself every day. Perhaps it is about building a little altar for you where you can focus on. Perhaps you want to start writing a book or putting a course together or something like that, because also all 3 of these are associated with teaching in some way, shape, or form. So perhaps you need to find a way to start sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. The 19 is also about resilience, and it's especially as resilience to society's influences. Now, remember, the heart card is there where we are giving away our control in some way, shape, or form. perhaps because it's convenient. Oh, the government says this. Oh, people say this. Oh, like whatever. This is the rules. And following those things, we are gaining something from that, but it gives us more excuses than anything else. 19.1 is also about your intuitive abilities. So there's an opportunity here to become more in tune with your intuition. And 19.1 is known for its humor. So there's a reminder here to have a light-heartedness, to laugh, to have fun. Yeah, and there's deep healing within that light-heartedness and that fun. So for our solution, what it is that we're wanting to do, so homework-wise, 11 is about, again, expanding. And the way that it does it is through study. Now, the 11-2 is a very intelligent card, so it's also a reminder to use our intelligence, to use our analytical mind and our logical senses. But we need to balance that with our emotional side as well, because the 11-2 is about emotional resilience. So we just had resilience in the 19. We actually need to nurture and work with that resilience and build it up, make it stronger so that we can move with that. So if you don't feel resilient, this is something that you're going to have to work on. Find a way to make yourself more resilient. And sometimes the way to become more resilient is life smacking us down a few times. And every time we just dusting ourselves off and standing up and doing it again. 11.2 is about realizing or stepping into or working with your wisdom. Take all of your experiences from the past and work with that. It's about seeing the bigger picture, and then also about showing others what that bigger picture is. Okay, so there's quite a bit of work here. Our solution is, or our affirmation for the solution, sorry, is I'm fully supported and I can only succeed, for my soul knows only freedom. So I'm fully supported and I can only succeed, for my soul knows only freedom. I'm fully supported and I can only succeed, for my soul knows only freedom. So that's definitely something to work with as well. And again, freedom comes up in relation to the control that we had earlier. Can't make it up. Our success, or the result that we're going to get when we are doing this homework or when we're doing this, is going to lead us to expansion. The 12.3 is all about love and learning and teaching. So it's about whatever you learn, whether it's an experience or whether it is studying, then to share that with others. 12 is also very nurturing and mothering energy. So it gets us to a place where we can actually nurture, where we can love, where we can hold space for ourselves. Perhaps to be able to see the beauty in all things. So perhaps a little bit more romantic, but I think that in this time and space where we are just energetically, um, I think that things are going to get a little bit shaky, and we cannot respond to whatever happens around us with fear and anger, because I think there's already going to be a lot of that around. We need to respond with forgiveness and with love and compassion and with holding space. Because if we are going through an awakening of sorts, you know, the people, when the alarm goes off in the morning, they hit the snooze button, they don't want to hear about it, pulling the pillow over the head, no, I don't want to wake up. And even the sun is shining, no, pull the blanket over, I don't want to wake up, don't want to wake up. There's frustration and perhaps some anger there, and we are the ones who's going like, you've got to wake up, time to go, time to go. And so yeah, maybe the glass of ice cold water in the face. But I think this is a time where we really need to hold that space for the people, because they need to wake up, yep, but we can't force it. So if you're looking at a flower that's opening up, you can't force it, just give it some sunlight and some water and it will automatically open up. If you try and force it open, you're going to bruise the petals and you're going to break the flower. We don't want that. So the 12.3 is also about stepping into our intuitive abilities, into our leadership qualities. So leading by example, or leading in a way that people can see or understand or maybe follow through. So this is quite a powerful grid that we have here today for the 31st of October. Yeah. So I'm going to say on your side, just homework wise or whatever, perhaps just sit with this and just allow it to settle in. Meditate on it, meditate on the information. I'll put all of the information on the post as well. So if you want to slowly read through everything, and I would say that you want to hold the hand position while you read the information. So whatever the hand position is for that position, work with the affirmation and release. Our important thing when we looked at the cards was this beauty of emptiness. Allow yourself the space to sit with the emotion without judging it. Just feel it. Don't give it a time limit. Allow it to sit. If you can't work through all of these in one go, take one at a time, one per day, and just sit with it. If you sit with an emotion long enough, it will change. It's not going to remain the same forever. It can't. It's impossible. Each emotion has a time span. It's got a limit to it. It can only last that long. It's when we suppress it and we hide it that it's got nowhere to go. And then we've got this pressure cooker explosion. We don't want pressure cooker explosions. So allow the emotion to sit, be with the emotion, and be okay with the emotion. Observe it. Spend time with it. No judgment. And it will change. Hold the hand position, feel it. And that's your work to do. On my side, I'm going to do some nice playing around with all of the work now. And I'll bring in probably some pendulums, and I've got my other cards that I'm going to be working with here. So I'm going to do some energetic work and clearing around this. But on your side, you've got lots of work to do. Again, if there's an aspect here that you don't resonate with, imagine you did and feel what that would feel like. So if there's any of these blocks that you don't connect with, imagine it was a block, or perhaps there was a time in your life when it was relevant, because even if something is long gone, it could be gone for 30 years or 20 years, it still has an impact on your life right now, right here. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with this, and I am sending you lots of love and light, and I look forward to seeing you in our next session. Take care.